Hello, everybody. This is Bob Kingpin, along with my broadcast partner over there, Brian Cano Sr. And this is Dbacks Weekly Inside the Game. And this is a special edition. And this is the final report for the NLDS. And let me just say that Brian and I are credentialed media members. Those of you that have been following us know that already. But Brian and I were both there last night as the Diamondbacks wrapped up the divisional series against the LA Dodgers. Brian?
Bob, I'm still kind of giddy over last night. I think one of the highlights of the night was watching you in the clubhouse afterwards, getting, I don't know, was it a bottle of champagne or a bottle of beer poured all over the top of your head?
I
But
yes,
unexpectedly, but
one of the players that I have no idea who it was poured a whole bottle of champagne on my head. I
I
didn't
love
turn
it.
around. I did not turn around to see who it was. I just took it like a man.
You took it like a champ, man. You know what? And frankly, what an honor, and and to be there to see that, and not only that, but to be there to feel the energy in the clubhouse of the players, young and older. After a hard fought series, which of course they came out on top, sweeping the Dodgers. You said that already, but that's the energy in that room after the game was very special, and just to be part of that, for me anyway, was phenomenal. To walk around and just kind of embrace the moment with the guys that had been on the field, right there on the field playing in that game, and it kind of humanized them to me. It made me realize just how much, and I don't want to say it in the wrong way, and it may come across as being wrong, but just to notice the little boy in them. There's still a little boy in them, and I love that element of baseball where it kind of brings that out of the players in some cases. And last night I saw that, and it was really neat to see. And again, the game itself was super exciting, but one of the memories that I will take with me going forward is being a part of that energy and just absorbing it and being able to say, you know what, there is still this purity in the world. It's just a matter of looking for it and being able to identify it. And last night in that room, that was pure joy. And it was awesome.
Yeah, it was a great atmosphere. And now I've been, broadcasting now. This is my 36th year of broadcasting. And I have been to many celebrations in locker rooms. As a matter of fact, I've even been in celebrations when the White Sox won the World Series back in 2005. And I don't think it was as wild as it was last night in that Diamondbacks clubhouse. It was. I mean, there were people just everywhere having a good time, celebrating. But I even scoped out Tori Lavello because I wanted to see Tori. I feel like Tori and I have become friends in some way, or good acquaintances, I should say. And as a matter of fact, even pregame, when I went to this pregame conference, he was looking around. He scoped me out. He nodded. I gave him the thumbs up. And then after the game in the clubhouse, I had the opportunity of, giving each other a big hug. And as I said to him, it ain't over yet. And he said, no, it's not, Kingpin.
Yeah.
And just, uh, this team, and we had talked about that early this morning. And people, we do talk offline without recording things. We do talk
Every
all
now,
the time.
a little
And
bit.
and as a matter of fact, last night, uh, Brian and I were sitting in two different locations in Chase Field, and we were texting back and forth. We couldn't call each other because we couldn't hear
I
anything.
couldn't hear a thing, man.
There were 48,000 people there. Let's just talk about that crowd for a second.
Oh,
48,000 plus there. I think it was 48,175. It was so loud. even before the national anthem, they are chanting "Beat LA." I'm telling you, I haven't heard I haven't heard that place as loud. Now, I'm sure it was back, and I didn't cover the team back in 2001 when they did win the World Series, but it was noisy. The fans were ready, and the Dodgers were not. The
No,
Dodger, I don't know if the Dodgers were not or if the pitching was just so good. I mean, to hear, and I was sitting in the press box next to our good friend Bob Nightingale from the USA Today, and we were talking back and forth, and one of the things we talked about before the game, he said that Mookie Betts it was or maybe that's what his final total is now. 3 for 38 in his last 10 playoff games.
no.
That's horrible.
Wow,
Okay,
wow.
that's and how many hits did he get in this series in 11 at bats?
You had to. I mean, I was shocked to hear it. Look at that,
Nothing,
a goose egg.
nothing. And Freddie Freeman, the number 2 punch,
One hit.
1 hit.
That I was after you told me I had to. I mean, not to doubt you at all, but as a journalist,
You
I'm gonna look
probably
things
look.
up,
You
and
probably
I
looked
just
it
wanted to
up, right?
double check a little bit. And I was sure as you know what, man. But you know what, Bob, that was the game plan. I think the D-backs had a game plan. They knew that even fat, being let's face it, Mookie Betts and Freeman going into the game were hitting over 600 against Pat. So to have a game plan work out and get them to swing at pitches that he wanted them to swing at, as opposed to getting behind in the count and forcing a pitch into the zone where they're waiting on, I think that really
Right,
helped a lot. But let's go back to the crowd. The crowd was
right,
electric. And again, I think it's important to recognize that, when push comes to shove, the Valley does support its baseball team. Because last night was one of those shoving matches, and essentially it could have been 50-50, where the
yep,
Dodgers could have, rallied. But last night, and I'm going to say it, we watched, even though we're on opposite ends of the ballpark reporting, we
right.
saw 4 home runs in 1 inning, the 3rd inning. And that was
Historic event.
such history.
Never has it been done in playoffs ever.
I
It
mean,
was it was amazing.
what,
First
what,
of all, right?
there was a 5th one in there that should have been a home run, but it was off by a couple of feet. And then the very next pitch, Moreno
That
left center field.
exactly. That's what I was going to get to. First, he hits one that was called fair as a home run down the right field line. That actually was a foul ball. They went to the replay and they did see that yes, it was a foul ball. So here's a guy who went into the dugout, did his high fives already, right? He did 2 high fives in this at bat. He came back out. He's with his bat. The very first pitch, he hits it left center field, almost to the deepest part of that ballpark,
Right in the little
and
corner.
for a home run. And how many times have I said it, or we said it actually this year, and we've been doing our show now for quite a while,
Certainly have.
is that we have said that Gabby Moreno is the heart and soul of this Diamondbacks team. Corbin Carroll might be star. There's other stars along in the team, but Gabby Moreno is the guy. I mean, not only is he a great hitter, okay. I mean, he is also now, from what I understand and what I've seen, he is the first. Is it the first catcher to hit 3 home runs in a series, or the first rookie catcher? It
Wow.
might be a rookie catcher per se, in 3 home runs in a playoff season. And this season's not over.
No.
He very well could be, adding on to this.
No,
But
he's a spark plug, man. He's those definitely, like you said, heart and soul, but at the same time, he's got a lot of toughness. The kid got a ball banged off of his right hand last night. I'm sitting in the dugout, in the press box, thinking to myself, "Oh my God, he's broken his hand. Oh my God, he's broken his hand." And the ball hit him right on those metacarpals, that break so easily. But you know what? He got up and moved his hand around. And I think he even tried to throw it. He threw it. I think he played another inning. or
He was
setting
taken out.
it.
He was actually taken out in between that inning. He played
Finish the inning,
for the
right?
last. He finished the inning,
Yeah,
and then they took him out because Lavello wanted to make sure. Hey, listen, that my
yeah.
catcher is okay.
Hey, good
Luckily,
call.
luckily, from what and Bob Nightingale brought his own TV, like his own TV, his iPad, so he had the game going next to us,
Yeah.
and because it's very hard to see the TVs. Not where you were sitting last night,
No, I had a
where
beautiful
we
view of that
sit.
screen, man.
Yeah, they said that his hand was really swelling up,
Yeah.
but luckily um, it was fine, negative, and he's ready
Oh,
to go for game number one of the. God, it's hard to believe I'm saying it. NLCS. They
yeah.
have taken it to the league championship series. Here was a team that wasn't even supposed to be in a playoff situation this year. Um, and, you know, they very well could have, and we've talked about this. If you go back through our old podcasts, Brian and I both believe that if Gabby Moreno still was catching mid-season long, and when they brought in that Carson Kelly and they started him every game, I think if Moreno was playing, I still they had a chance to win this division. But you know what? It doesn't matter now.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
retrospectively, Bob, I think that you're spot on. I think that at the end of the day, when what we noticed right away was not necessarily the stats; it was the chemistry. What was missing all of a sudden, and
Exactly.
it was Gabby, and some of the things that he does that impact the game that maybe aren't necessarily written down. The intangibles that it takes from as a and he's going to be a great manager someday. Frankly, the way he manages at 24 years old behind the dish, I expect, and the way he hits, I expect Gabby Moreno someday to become a manager in Major League Baseball. I said it here first. If that's what he decides to do, he's young and he's going to have a lot of career left. But at the same time, those are
A
the kind of
lot.
players that make it as managers down the road. But that's down the road. As far as what, I'm not going to go as far as saying this was Clayton Kershaw, this was Bobby Miller, this was Lance Lynn, this was the lack of Freddie Freeman hitting, this was Betts, this was Muncy not doing his thing. But I'm going to say this: the D-backs just outplayed them. Bottom line, from start to finish, they
And
owned. It is what it
and,
is, right?
and Dave Roberts said that. Dave Roberts said in his post game interview is that he congratulated the Diamondbacks. He said they outplayed. Of course, he wanted to Mike Hazen, and Mike Hazen deserves a lot of credit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But he just said they outplayed us in every facet of the game.
No, start to finish, inning one of first game, 5 runs right away with 5 players to bat. And frankly, that tone of the series never changed. Now, of course, baseball is, you play 9 innings. It's a long game.
Yeah.
But in terms of overall theme, that was set in the first inning of the very first game. And the
Yes,
D-backs
it
just
was.
continued on throughout the series until the last out of the last inning in that
Right.
regard.
But you know what? It doesn't matter with this team. This team is playing so well. So let's go back to the Milwaukee series. They were down in both games,
Yep.
3 runs and 2 runs.
Yep.
They came back like they have all year. We've called them the answer backs. I call them the throwbacks. They just they have answered this all season, basically, except for that stretch in July, right? When we've already talked, beat the horse to death, is when they got on that losing streak. But the thing is that they just had a great season. I looked at it and we said it. I thought that they backed into the playoffs a little bit with that 4 game losing streak at the end of the season, but they made it, and then they just said it's a new series, it's a new it's a new season, and that's exactly what happened. One thing is what we had talked about even before this Dodgers series, and and the Milwaukee series is, if the Diamondbacks come out and play the way they played in the beginning part of the season, Brian, we said this, they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And the thing is, let's say this, all three games were won in a different way. That's what makes this snake a three-headed or a four-headed monster.
Yeah, you don't know what
Because
you're going to get.
yeah, and what did the scoreboard say last night right after they won? The chaos continues,
Yeah.
because that's what they like to call it, because they can win in so many different ways.
No.
I did get a chance to watch last night. The guys on TBS and the MLB Network. By the way, I watched both of them. They're all on YouTube for you fans to see if you do want to go out there and take a look for Diamondbacks recap of the Dodgers series. They These guys were like all cheering for the Diamondbacks, like they're the Cinderella team. They're a fun team to watch,
Oh,
and
they've come a long
they
way, Bob. They've come a long way. I mean, let's face it. Torey Lovullo, he has, in the last 2 years that I've observed, just a little bit here and there, has taken a group of young players that didn't understand how to win, taught them a little bit about winning. Now it's gotten them, I question whether they would have the heart to play for him at the end of the year. And I was way off, because they do. I think they love the guy. But at the end of the day, I think his philosophy of having some emotional intelligence enough to treat individual players individually while treating the whole collectively and being consistent along the way, making those decisions and living with that. And I think at the end of the day, what you have now is he's created an environment where the players expect to win. As crazy as that sounds, every game they expect to win. And with that being said, in the past, when they would go down 2 or 3 runs, maybe it wasn't important. Maybe it was okay, we'll come back, maybe. But I can almost guarantee you now that they will be disappointed in themselves if they let themselves go down by 3 runs. That it makes a bigger difference to teams that are expecting to win, as opposed to a team that's expecting to have something go against them and coming back from that. These guys are expecting to win no matter who they play. And I'm not going to go as far as saying anything other than they play game 1 on Monday against either the Braves or the Phillies. But with the Phillies and Braves beating each other up, let them fight it out. 5 games if they want. It doesn't matter. The Dbacks are going to get, in my opinion, are because of Lovullo's managerial style, his ability to connect to the players on an individual basis, individual level, to the extent that he can turn that energy and make it better for the whole, and then treat the whole the same. That is so hard to do, but that's something that we have in Arizona that I don't know if Bruce Bochy has it. I don't know if Dusty Baker has that, because it's a different way of it's a different way of teaching, and and baseball maybe isn't as responsive to that style. But at the end of the day, Bob, he's teaching even me that you can manage this way and potentially come out on top. And so I've learned a lot from Lovullo and his style, and I know that those young men, and some of the older players as well have as well. So my hat's off to Torey Lovullo and the staff. I had a chance to speak to Joe Mather last night. Hey, look, we ripped Joe Mather, the hitting coach, a little bit this year for their lack of hitting, but I praised them a little bit last night because they did a phenomenal job in this series, the last 2 series, of pitch location. They have plate discipline, better 2-strike hitting. So many things that you and I, Bob, had been talking about, they weren't doing, they actually did.
Right.
And it's only fair that when I have an opportunity to point out that I was wrong about some of the things that I was saying, or at least I noticed that they must have been working on that. So Joe Mather, hat off to you. Joe Mather and your staff, hats off to you as well for getting the guys ready to swing the bats, because they did a heck of a job with that.
Yeah, it was really something. And you're talking about Torey. This is Torey's 7th year here in Arizona, and he's actually become he's even growing as a manager. He's gotten better at what he's doing. And it's kind of funny. We're not stats guys, and everybody who watches us knows that. We're more feel guys. I feel like in the season, he was more of taking the analyst report. To me, in the playoffs, it seems like he's become a feel guy like us.
No,
I mean,
it's
listen,
illustrated, absolutely.
Brandon Pfaadt didn't get the win last night, but as far as I'm concerned, he was the winner.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and he came out when he saw that double, and he said, you know what? I'm not going to let this guy get in trouble. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Manaply. So that's why I say his style right now has even changed from the way that it was during the regular season to the playoffs. And that to me is the mark of it, not only a good manager, but a guy who's really understanding his surrounding and what's going on, and he's not getting caught up in the moment. Now, what he did say is, though, listen, I'm a baseball fan too, and what I saw of those 4 home runs in that inning is like he's never seen that. Well, no one's ever seen that before, right?
No way,
So,
man. That was
I,
amazing.
but and that's why I say they can win many different ways. One thing again, back to Lavello, his teams from day one that he's come in here 7 years ago, they've always played hard.
Yeah.
I mean, they've always given their all, and and that's when they didn't have the talent. They've been through 110 last season, just 2 years ago, and here they are. And I'm going to say it right now: they are on the brink of going to a World Series. Here's the thing: they're going to be going into the NLCS. They win the NLCS, they're on the World Series.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
you
What I
know,
don't even want to
for
think that way, but
I know,
oh, you it's true.
but here, but
100%.
but here's a team that n- nobody. I mean, and I've said this before. I walked in almost the first weekend with Bob Nightingale from the USA Today. We were walking down, you know how you walk in through the main entrance, and then you have to walk all the way to the press elevator, right? And we're talking, and we're going, yeah, Bob, I think that we're both saying the same thing. I think this will be a good year for the Diamondbacks, but we still both agreed we believe they're a year away. I, I guess I'm still shocked. I'm almost speechless, which is really tough for me. But the thing is, here they are on the brink of going to a World Series.
Yeah, man. You teach them
You
how to
know,
win, Bob. That's all they needed to learn. I think they finally reached to that crescendo and actually it's right on time too with Lavello. Maybe there was a certain element of progress that he was looking for along the way that would lead to this inevitability, which is getting into the playoffs and then letting your players speak for what your philosophy was. And at the end of the day, I think that with those 2 wins in Milwaukee, I even think some of the players were a little bit surprised. Wow, maybe
yeah,
we did this, and now, and before you know it, like wow, and now they're not surprised. It's shocked maybe briefly, but it doesn't surprise them
yeah,
anymore. I don't think that they beat the Dodgers. Maybe the way they did it,
right,
but
right.
but overall, I think that the D-backs after the game last night more than likely felt we deserve it. And if not us, who? Why not us? Why shouldn't it be us that gets to the World Series?
I
What
think
you
that
know? So
Milwaukee, yeah, I agree. I think that Milwaukee series gave them a lot of confidence going in against the Dodgers. That hey, listen, we can finally beat these guys.
yeah.
They've been the Dodgers doormat for 10 years, and I'm sorry, Dodgers fans. You know what? You can cry all the frick you want right now, but you know what? One turn deserves deserves another. And you've been beating up on the Diamondbacks for 10 stinking years. And it's about time that the Diamondbacks handed it to you. As I said to a buddy of mine the other day, is the Dodgers looked old.
Yeah.
I just called the way it is. They
Call
looked
away,
old.
that's what we do around here. I know, and Clayton Kershaw will be the first to tell you, that he probably felt older, than he ever has in the past. And maybe that last game that he pitched against the D-backs may be his last game. I don't know. Nobody knows. But the Dodgers are going to have their own. And and I don't feel too badly for the Dodgers. They've had a lot of success in the past, and
I don't
it
feel
is
bad
what it
for.
is. It
I
is what
don't
it
feel
is.
bad for the
It
Dodgers
is
at
what
all.
it is. They got to pick up the pieces, not us. We're still moving on. The D-backs, the freight train is gone from Phoenix, but the train is still moving forward in Phoenix, literally.
Yeah,
And I
I
felt a little
wonder.
bit bad
I
for
wonder.
Peralta, but
I
well,
wonder next year if they're still going to be using the
he better
Peralta
not be doing that Freeman dance
train
down
thing.
9-0, man.
Oh yeah, how about yeah,
He better not do that. That
down
Freddie
nine, and
Freeman
he's
dance,
he's
9-0.
doing the
He's doing a dance. I
yeah.
was a
You're
little embarrassed for the guy, frankly, and we talked about that, but um,
yeah.
but that's what you get when you get to those bigger cities. I don't know, but Arizona, small market team. They even lost their, hate to say it, but Bally's. They were on TV one day, next day they were having to be MLB's having to pick up the pieces because nobody wants to take care of the lowly D-backs. Well, everybody wants to see them now. Everybody wants to know what's going on now, and that's what's important. And I think that they've earned that. And frankly, it's been fun to be part of that, to enjoy the ride, to report, to be at the games, to feel the energy, to take the fans into the nooks and crannies of some of the things that we get to do that maybe they don't. And it's a privilege, frankly. It's a privilege to be able to do that, and that's who I look at it. So I'm
Right.
grateful to do it, and grateful to be part of this ride. And I know you've been doing it for many years, and me 2 years in, this is a quick turnaround for me to be in something this special. And so I'm not really grasping it quite like maybe you have, but you're teaching me. So I appreciate you reminding me just how important this is and how rare this is. So
Yeah,
Bob,
and
the Monday of the 16th, game one, uh,
look
Arizona
forward
versus
to it.
Atlanta or Philadelphia in one of those cities. So Monday, it looks like it's going to start at 5 o'clock, 5:07, and that's set in stone.
Our
The
time.
schedule
All
was
right.
released today. Yeah, it's going to be 8:07 in the east and 5:07 here in the valley. So it is what it is. The guys get a couple of days off, not much time, but just enough to heal up and rest, get the wounds, to ice them, get the hand back to normal. Moreno's part, and get ready to go because whether it's the Phillies or the Braves, they're going to have their hands full, and that's just the way it should be.
I if I'm a betting guy, I'm thinking it's the Phillies, and the only reason I say that is what Atlanta did to Bryce Harper by mocking him because the guy gets doubled off to end the game, and Bryce Harper has now woken up,
Yeah.
especially against Atlanta. Um, I I'm thinking it's going to be the Phillies. I think it's going to be the Phillies Diamondbacks. It'll be a great matchup. Phillies did go to the World Series last year, if I had that right.
The Phillies played the Houston Astros last year in the
Right,
World Series,
and they
and
lost.
they actually the Phillies beat the Padres to get in there, and the Padres were playing pretty good at the end of the season last year, and the Phillies earned that victory, and they went into the World Series and darn near took that too.
Yeah,
I expect it to be the Phillies as well, Bob. Frankly, just based on the way that they're playing with the Harper incident as well. Don't poke the bear, man. That's all I can say. Don't
that's
poke
right.
the bear.
Don't poke the bear. The Diamondbacks will still be underdogs, in which they like. Um, we hope that the Phillies come out and say something bad about the Diamondbacks, because that'll be even. Well, the Diamondbacks they're playing with a chip on their shoulder,
Yeah, they have
right?
enough stuff going. Yeah, that locker room fodder doesn't get through to them. Lavella's got them so focused on what they're trying to do, they could be a
Yeah,
care less of what everybody else is doing. They're tunnel vision right now. They got one thing, and literally, I think Tommy Pham was saying it last night in passing. I remember hearing him say that he's only 4 wins away from World Series. And if you have that type of tunnel vision where you're only focused on what you're trying to accomplish, hell with everybody else. I think that's the best attitude to have when it goes to something like this because they're going to be in a hostile territory no matter where they go. But if they can
oh
focus
yeah.
on getting 3 outs per inning, having some good at bats, working hard for each other, following the game plan, doing what you can do, and having Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly in a 7-game series is pretty good for us. I like our chances.
Have
So
we? Do you know or not? I know we only have a few minutes left here, but do you know they haven't named a starter as of yet, have they?
no,
For that, so we don't know if they're going to flip Gollin back around or just have go with Kelly in the first game. It doesn't really matter as far as
no.
I'm concerned.
I think they'll go with what they have in the past, which is make sure the guys have had adequate rest, as many days off in between starts as they normally get, and if it happens to be a Kelly day, they may go Kelly and then go with Gallen on the next game because this gives you Gallen in a game 7.
Like what they did then with the Dodgers because Kelly started out.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking that might be the way to do it, but at the same time, to get off to a good start, knowing that you're 3 games in Phoenix away with 1 win and you're busy, there's 3 home games then all of a sudden, and anything can happen in 3 home games. But at the same time, they got to win game 1 or 2 to make that happen because there are 3 straight games here in Phoenix.
Right.
There is going to be, by the way. Anyway, we'll talk more about
Right.
that next week because we're running
Yeah.
out of time here. Well,
Okay.
Bob, it's a good visit, man. Good podcast. Good, solid. Congratulations on both of our companies being part of the NLCS. Looks like we're both approved for that, and we look forward to getting out there and doing a lot of reporting to an extent that we can, and sharing the insights with the fans, with our audience. We appreciate y'all for joining us. So thanks for being here, and we look forward to engaging with you further down the road. Bob,
I'd say you said it all right there. We'll just sign off and say, how about this? You know what? Go Dbacks.
go Dbacks.